Am I the asshole for not saying thank you when a parent returned my son's lunchbox? I, 35F, have a son 4M. Let's call him Ben. I pack lunch for all my kids and purchased bento lunch boxes for each of them. They go for about $50 on Amazon. I label my kids' lunches lunchbox, as well as pretty much everything they own, and take to school. A few weeks ago, when I went to pick up my son from school on a Tuesday, I noticed that his book bag was a little light, and when I looked inside I realized that he was missing his bento box. No biggie, I mentioned it to one of the after-school teachers, and she said that she had accidentally sent it home with another kid. He has a similar name to my son, let's say Ken. I should note that I have never met this kid or his parent. Anyway, again, no biggie. I just kindly asked her have the parent return the lunchbox the next day. The following day I inquired about the lunchbox, and the teacher said that the parent had messaged her saying she would bring it the following day, as they are PT students coming on T/Titch. Alright, cool. Thursday comes around, and after school I'm like, okay, where's my son's lunchbox? The teacher tells me the parent forgot it, but will bring it next Tuesday. I'm a little annoyed, but I figure I'll give the parent some grace. Next Tuesday comes, and no lunchbox. At this point, I'm properly annoyed. I mention the missing lunchbox to my son's daytime teachers, asking them to reach out to this parent so I can get my son's lunchbox back, because WTF. Fast forward to another week. Still no lunchbox. Apparently the mother is postpartum and very forgetful. She made a joke to the teacher saying the lunchbox was getting closer to school because she put it by her front door. Needless to say, I'm properly pissed. I really don't understand why this is such an ordeal. Just put the lunchbox in your car or your kid's book bag to bring to school. My husband wants me to find the parent and confront her myself, but the teachers won't give me her name, and I can never catch the kid or her at pickup. So I send a very stern email to the principal, admin, and all my son's teachers expressing my frustration with this and explaining that I want my kid's stuff. I guess they finally are able to get through to this parent, and the next Thursday, nearly 4 weeks later, she meets me and brings the lunchbox. She apologizes and she tried to joke about the situation, but I was so annoyed that I just kind of stared at her blankly. Then I just said okay, took the lunchbox and left. She apparently told some of the other parents that I was rude to her and that I could have been more appreciative that she brought the lunchbox back. Mom, errol. So anyway, am I the asshole for not saying thank you? Edit. So last Friday we had a Halloween parade at the kids' school, and a lot of the parents were there. One of the parents who heard about the hostage lunchbox was chatting me up, and I was explaining the situation, and for those of you who said she wanted it for herself, spot on. Apparently her son really liked it and was always telling his mom for it, but she didn't want to get it for him. When it was mistakenly put in her son's bag, she thought it was the perfect opportunity to just keep it. She thought I would just let it go and she would be able to keep it for her son, but no dice on that. Circling back to the folks who were talking about the price of the lunchbox, it's because it's expensive that I wanted it back. I'm not made of money, and I buy quality stuff for my kids so they can last throughout the school year and beyond. So for me to just let it go, and then have to spend money to purchase another one wasn't going to happen. Plus I really did feel like she was playing games with me. Anywho, I'll admit that I wasn't the nicest when she returned it. I'm only human. But when I saw her at the parade, I made sure I was polite-ish and showed her the link if she wanted to get the lunchbox for her kid, as well as mentioned that there were some less expensive options. All's well that ends well. Not the asshole. The school messed up, but the problem should have been rectified the next time her kid went to school. I suspect she was planning on keeping it. Not the asshole. If she can remember to pick her kid up, she can remember to return your property. No, ma'am. I was ready to call you rude, but it shouldn't have taken this long to get it back. Not the asshole. Don't give a 4-year-old something that will wind you up this badly to lose. Not the asshole taking a month to return something is beyond rude. Her postpartum has nothing to do with it, because I doubt she forgets her own child's lunch too. I would be pissed too if everything was nicely labeled. Am I the asshole for telling a child about my disability? I, 20F, have a hidden disability. My boyfriend and I are babysitting his niece Joanna, 5F, next week, and she asked to go ice skating. I have no problem going to the rink and sitting on the sidelines, but it's not safe for me to skate because of my condition. I explained to Joanna that I'll be there, but the muscles in my ankles don't work the way they're supposed to, so I'll have to sit and watch. Joanna was fine with that, but her mother was not impressed that I told Joanna about my disability. She says that a child that young doesn't need to be concerning themselves with such scary things, and that next time I need to keep it to myself. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's niece about my disability? You gave a very age-appropriate, non-scary answer to her. She would have wondered why you didn't want to ice skate with her, if you just showed up and sat on the sidelines. Mom sounds a bit overprotective. Unfortunately, in a gruesome duel with a rabid German shepherd, both my Achilles tendons were severed. Way too much for anyone, let alone a 5-year-old. I can't skate because my ankles don't work the way they're supposed to. A-okay. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You explained why you couldn't skate in an age-appropriate way. You didn't frighten her or make a big deal out of it. It's good for kids to learn about people who are different than them. Not the asshole. Disabilities are part of life. They can happen to anyone at any time. Stamp all over that ableist BS. You are allowed to exist authentically and unapologetically. Not the asshole. A 5-year-old is old enough to understand a simple explanation that you have physical limitations. Your explanation was not over the top. Not the asshole. What else were you supposed to say when she asked why you aren't on the ice? Am I the asshole for eating a whole donut that was brought into work as a reward/birthday party? So this has happened at 2 different places I work in. Someone or the boss brings in dug huts, normal-sized and not cut up, to work as a reward to the workers. I am sitting in the lunchroom and took 1 whole donut, and my boss got angry and started cutting them all in half. Another time, someone brought in donuts and different desserts on a plate, and since it was a late afternoon when I started my shift, I assumed people got what they needed and took 1 whole donut from the plate. Someone gave me a look in surprise, and I feel guilty now. I just felt like if you bring in desserts or food, if you want people to only have a certain amount, cut it up first, and not serve a whole donut or piece of cake on a plate for people to take. It makes me think it's acceptable to take a whole one. Not the asshole. The normal portion unit for donuts is a donut. Not the asshole. If I come in and see half a cut-up donut, I'm not eating the other half. I don't know who touched it, or if their hands were clean. All or nothing. Not the asshole. Who brings in donuts and expects people to know they are supposed to cut them in half. That's bizarre. You're not the asshole. If someone is hell-bent on minimizing portions people take, they should be bringing in mini donuts or donut holes. I believe a donut per person is absolutely acceptable. Not the asshole. Cut-up donuts in the office skeeve me out. I just assumed the person didn't wash their hands before holding the donut they cut, the knife wasn't clean, and someone definitely put a finger in that filling. Am I the asshole for saying if you break, you buy? I recently hosted a dinner party for my friends, and I allowed them to bring their significant others and plus ones. One of my best friends of many years brought her boyfriend, whom I have never met until now. During said party, her boyfriend wanted to show off his ability to do a handstand, effectively knocking into one of my tables and shattering a lot of expensive pottery and glassware. No one was hurt, but everything was shattered beyond repair. My best friend apologized effusively, and I said it was fine, I just wanted the items that were damaged to be replaced. I'd like to clarify that the items were expensive for what they were, vases/ornamental bowls, because they were made by small artists, but they were not expensive overall. I'd reckon $40.80 per item he broke, and he broke 3. He also has a stable job, and is more than monetarily able to replace the items from the original sellers. I would also like to specify that this party had more of a classy/dinner party vibe. No one was drinking excessively. All my friends are in their mid to late 20s, and her boyfriend was actually older, early 30s. However, he seemed to be unable to read the room throughout the whole party and just had such a hyper energy, hence the random showing off of the handstand. This is also why I didn't put away everything, because I believe if he didn't do the handstand nothing would have happened to the decor. My friend asked if instead her boyfriend could just replace the items with stuff from IKEA or Marshall's. I said no, as I want the original items that were broken. She responded that I was being unreasonable asking for such expensive vases, and that it was an accident. I pointed out how preventable the accident was. Am I the asshole for asking for replacements for what was broken if it was expensive and an accident? Not the asshole. Doing a handstand, especially at a perfect stranger's house, is a stupid thing to do. Doesn't matter if you're sober or drunk. As the saying goes, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I'm fucking sorry. What? Her boyfriend did a what? Not the asshole OP. I am very upset for you. Nope, he's gotta take responsibility. I would definitely get the bill on this guy. That's just completely negligent to the highest degree. Not the asshole. Who the heck does a handstand to show off after the age of, maybe 16? Not the asshole. Who does a fucking handstand in the middle of someone else's living room? That's just bizarre, and then breaks a bunch of stuff. Moronic is just one word I would use. Give them an invoice for the damage, and tell them you expect payment in due course. Depending on the cost, it could be a small claims court. What adult does handstands in a home at a dinner party? Not the asshole. Breaking something through jackass behavior means you replace the items and hope no one brings it up again. You have reasonable expectations to be reimbursed correctly, not on an IKEA budget.